Everyone. Hi, everyone. I don't know if the first time I went through, it just told me that I was live. Okay, so this is going to be slightly lengthy because there's a lot to share, actually. Um, we have a full moon in about, what, half an hour after, less than half an hour after I'm recording this. I hate my hair after I shower. I just want you to know that. But I need to do this. Oh God. So, typically, I do full moon updates, 48 hours before a full moon, and I'm doing one like 25 minutes, 20 minutes before one. And in some ways, it's not a bad thing because this full moon comes with so much publicity about it being sort of a shock and awe full moon that I don't know what it is supposed to do, eject you from your seat or something like that. And in some ways, I think it is doing that to quite a few people, but not quite in the way that has been advertised. And as I said, there's a lot to share because why is there a lot to share? I'm going to talk about the full moon first. I'm going to talk about Venus retrograde next. But why is there so much to share? Well, here's why. We had Venus go retrograde on October the 5th. On October the 8th, we had a new moon. On October the 11th, marked the 2-month date after the August 11th solar eclipse in Leo, a date that I count as important. And now on August the 24th, we have a full moon. In addition, we have Mars going over Aquarius, where the sign in which the July 27th lunar eclipse took place. So the idea of continuing to release whatever has been needed to be released, and I'll give those dates again a little bit later, continues. So we had whatever needed to be released in Mars and Aquarius and the lunar eclipse on July the 27th, and the dates of June the 7th of 2017 to August the 7th of 2017, and then February the 15th of this year till July the 27th of this year, and then since September, all of those dates have been focused on releasing something that has served its purpose that you may be resisting but needs to be let go of. And it's in the letting go of it that you'll be able to move forward to wherever it is that you need to move forward to. September was a month where these issues really came front to center. But on October the 5th, Venus went retrograde, and we started this planet party in Scorpio that shifted attention or added more to the plate. So October's been, in that regard, kind of a busier and more hectic and more tumultuous month. But let me go over, because it's important, one of the things to remember around this full moon and around this time, once again, is that Mars is in Aquarius. So issues related to the Aquarius eclipses and the dates for those, once again, I've given them before, but June the 7th, 2017 to August 7th, 2017, February the 15th of this year to July the 27th of this year, and then beginning of September to November the 15th of this year, whatever it is that is looking to be released in order to free you to move forward, whether it is something physically or whether it is a mindset or an attachment to a belief, is still active. It was really active in September, continues to be active. Now, Venus going retrograde on October the 5th. The week after Venus went retrograde, I may have had busier weeks astrologically, but I can't think of a single week where that was the week where I had the most urgent requests for readings. And with Venus retrograde, I contemplated whether the Venus retrograde October the 5th date was going to be financial. But it's turned out to be that this time Venus seems to be focused, maybe because it's retrograde in Scorpio, on relationships. And it became hairpin turn breakup season. So, you're going along in a certain relationship, and all of a sudden Venus goes retrograde around October the 5th, and it's like, okay, wait, time out. No, we're done for some reason. Now, that happens with Venus retrograde, technically. And with Venus retrograde, conventionally, we always say, if you start seeing someone when Venus is retrograde, unless you have Venus retrograde in your chart, or you make some decision when Venus goes retrograde, wait till Venus goes direct again, November the 16th. This November 15th, 16th, 17th date. Ooh, I don't know what's going to happen then. That's going to be interesting. wait till Venus goes direct after November the 17th to really make up your mind about it. And this year, as I have mentioned in my last video, Venus goes direct November the 16th and Mercury goes retrograde November the 17th. So this year, whatever it is that the universe is trying to help us process, first by re-evaluating something while Venus is retrograde, October 5th to November 17th, and then reconsidering something November 17th to December the 6th while Mercury is retrograde, is not going to be completely clear till about the middle of December. Is there forward movement? You betcha. More forward movement than we were having over the summer when everything was practically retrograde and we were like sitting on top of the Ferris wheel with our legs dangling. So certainly since December, we have started to move. Sometimes the move may feel like a bit of a gallop. Sometimes it may feel like, I want to move faster, Venus, help me. But the important thing with Venus retrograde, as I mentioned conventionally, is you may make decisions around when Venus goes retrograde, wait till Venus goes direct to see where you land, and this year wait till the middle of December to see where you really land. And also, one of the things conventionally said about Venus retrograde is that while Venus is retrograde, if you make any appearance changes, you dye your hair, you do tattoos, you get plastic surgery, you may not like it when Venus goes direct, so don't. Now, that's just conventional astrology, so I'm going to mention it to you in case you're contemplating doing something like that. Okay. So, with Venus retrograde, the week of October the 5th, the week before, week after, even around October 5th, 6th, contemplating relationship changes, re-evaluating relationships. And I'm coming to the full moon. I'll come to the full moon. It might be at the time of the full moon, given the rate that this video is going, that I come to the full moon, but I will come to the full moon. With Venus retrograde, there's been, one of the words that's been used is healing, and I think that healing is kind of a misleading word because every planet heals in some way or tries to heal in some way. And what is healing anyway? And isn't everything healing on some level? I don't know. But the bottom line is, I think that what people are doing is, if they're reevaluating anything, I think they're reevaluating their boundaries. I think it's a question of saying, what are my boundaries? What are my values? What are my boundaries? That's the one common theme that I'm really seeing emerge. And if you're processing things right now about relationships, past relationships, what might be a past relationship just as of October 5th, I am inclined to believe, based on everything that I am seeing, that that might be the space you need to be. Just, if you can help it, don't put a signature onto anything until the middle of December. Okay. Venus retrograde. So we have Mars in Aquarius working on the theme of release, still going on till the middle of November. We have Venus in Scorpio doing Venus retrograde there. And we had a new moon on October the 8th, as I mentioned. Pay attention to things that may have come up around October the 11th, the week before, the week after. Maybe somehow linked to, if there were any events that occurred at that time, maybe linked to the August 11th Leo solar eclipse. Keep in mind that the corresponding lunar eclipse is going to be on January the 21st of 2019, and we're going to watch for further developments on November the 21st, 2017 around that too. I'm giving you a lot of information here. Just rewind and go over it all again. It's some advantages of technology. So the October 11th date was important to it, and that brings us to this particular full moon. Before I go into the full moon, let's just talk about what is happening in Scorpio. Okay, we've had Jupiter here since last October. We have Mercury here currently. We have Venus here going retrograde, and the Sun just came in here yesterday. And on November the 7th, we're going to have a new moon here. We have 4 planets in Scorpio. And at the end of this month, on October the 31st, strangely enough, Mercury is going to move into Sagittarius, and Venus going retrograde is going to move into Libra, leaving the Sun and Jupiter here. The new moon will be on November the 7th. Jupiter will leave on November the 8th, leaving the Sun here, inaugurating a new moon. Scorpio still remains really active. Then, November the 16th, Venus goes direct. November the 17th, Mercury goes retrograde. And in the beginning of December, I'm like December the 2nd, both planets come back into Scorpio. So, wherever Scorpio is in your chart, is going to see a whole lot of action till the middle of December. So, and as it is with Jupiter here, the theme of auspicious new beginnings and endings, the start of a 12-year cycle, ending of a 12-year cycle, is in this part of the chart. And as I've said before in videos repeatedly, something very weird about the second half of this year, that an event happens like Jupiter leaving, and you've got these retrograde planets finishing up work. Just as we had the July 27th lunar eclipse in Aquarius, and Mars was retrograde and it's here back till November 15th to finish up work. Or we had Mercury retrograde when the August 11th solar eclipse happened, and then we had Mercury around for a little while after the eclipse to clean up stuff. Fascinating. Okay, I can't give you more information than that because I don't know where Scorpio sits, but along with this theme of releasing things, along with the Leo eclipses being active around the dates that I'm mentioning, the sign of Scorpio remains very, very active currently and will remain so, even if planets start to leave, will remain so till the middle of December. The full moon today. Both the full moons last month, 28 days ago, and today are somehow in conversation with where it is that we need to be going. The big theme for this particular full moon is that it is conjunct Uranus. And it is opposite the Venus retrograde. We've got the sun, and we've got Venus retrograde coming together in Scorpio. And right opposite, we've got the moon, and we've got Uranus retrograde, about to retrograde back into Aries. But we've got both those standing off each other. When a full moon, in my opinion, happens after something, I just feel like whatever is supposed to happen has happened by the time the full moon happens. So this sort of thing about, oh my God, these Uranus, the planet of shocking changes, lightning bolt changes, these lightning bolts are going to happen that are going to prepare, I wasn't entirely buying it. To me, what is interesting is that the full moon is square the nodes, the fated eclipse points. That, I think, is more interesting. But what is really important and interesting to me is that as in the next day or so, both the sun and the moon are going to be linking up to Saturn. And so whatever, first and foremost, whatever trauma this full moon might be bringing up, or heading up to the full moon might be bringing up, know that there's a certain amount of stability that's going to follow by the time this week ends. As with all full moons, the news is not always bad. The full moon can bring offers and positive culminations. The full moon can push you in the limelight in some way. The full moon can bring something to completion. And indeed, with Uranus in the mix, it could be that there's an awakening quality or a liberating quality. Something that makes you independent. Something that liberates you and frees you and awakens you. As opposed to, oh, Uranus is just going to come and pull the rug out from under your feet. It could be that Uranus is just trying to lead you to some sort of a breakthrough and free you so that you can move the hell forward. So, as always with new moons and full moons, think about everything that has been happening over the past 48 hours, and indeed for the next at least 24 hours, if not 48 hours. Understand that the themes of the full moon are going to be around for another couple of weeks. And with this particular full moon, there is no question that there's a strength to it. It's in Taurus. The moon is powerful in Taurus. And from everything that I have seen unfold the last 24 or 48 hours, there have been some dramatic and positive developments for some people, but there have been some meltdowns. And fruitful meltdowns. Healthful falling aparts. Healthful coming apart at the seams. So if something like that has happened, it might have a reason or a purpose. So it's an important full moon, but with all new moons and full moons, rather than going to the, oh my God, this horrible, scary thing is going to happen, I would say, the new moon and the full moon are not eclipses. They're important lunations. Somehow they're trying to move things forward in the larger themes of change that are being created by the eclipses, by everything that is going on in Scorpio right now. So just observe what is happening and where it is the universe is trying to take you. The full moon might actually be facilitating closure. And for me, the key word related to this full moon, even though I have seen evidence of positivity and offers and something coming to fruition, something coming to a head in a good way, I've also seen sort of the milk boiling over, meltdown, everything going kind of funky and awry side of the full moon. But there's something about this full moon, the word that I would use is departure. There's just something about this full moon that, in whatever context, is ending something truly. And we say this with full moons, but with this one especially. And is allowing you to move forward in a way that is more awakened, and in a way that might be more true to yourself, and in a way that is more independent. Now, that does not mean that you actually have to physically depart or leave something behind or leave a relationship behind, although I have seen that. It could be that you are just leaving an old version of a story or an old guise of that relationship and are choosing to leave a cocoon, kind of try to and move towards becoming the butterfly. Or it could just be that if it is a relationship that is going through a transformation, that you are just deciding that there are certain things that you are just going to leave behind once and for all. Someone just made a comment, and I appreciate it, but it came and went so fast. So I'm going to go back and take a look at it if I can, because with live chats, sometimes I just can't figure it out. All right. Now we're done. So think back to the October 5th date, Venus going retrograde. Think about whether or not you're reevaluating relationships in your life, and continue to do so. Be prepared and understand that the next set of dates we really need to look at closely are around November 15th, 16th, 17th. November 15th, Mars leaves Aquarius. November 16th, Venus goes direct. November 17th, Mercury goes retrograde. Ugh. I will be fascinated to know what those days feel like. And what that really means is that any reevaluation you do and any reconsideration you do in the middle of November to about December the 6th, give things till the middle of December to really figure out and see where you've landed after you've kind of gone on the sled and done the roller coasters and kind of stopped. Oh, that got exciting. Full moon conjunct Uranus, I guess. Full moon today in a few minutes. Pay attention to whatever has been coming to a head over the last 48 hours, next 24 hours. Make note. Try to see where it is that the universe is moving you, and if it is trying to liberate you in some ways. And then November the 7th, we're going to have the new moon in Scorpio, a supercharged sign right now. So if there's some part of your life that, let's just say, is creating anxiety, then I would watch that space, and maybe some resolution and some solutions are going to come to you after November the 7th. One more point. If you're dealing with technology issues on anything, try and get them resolved this week or next week. Because by the time we head to Mercury retrograde, things are going to get funkier. Okay? Happy full moon, people. I managed to do this under 20 minutes. And I will be back in touch in a couple of weeks. Okay, thanks. Bye.